wrap it up now. Washington Commanders, breakout players in Washington. Is it Sam Howell?
If Jordan Love is the breakout player for the Green Bay Packers, then Sam Howell has to be for the Washington Commanders. And again, it makes some sense. Like, he's an interesting story because I forget where I was, a radio hit the other day where we talked this out. But when Ron Rivera was on the podcast, he made the point to us, like we were sort of questioning, hey, is the Sam Howell thing for real? And he asked us, like, where was he in your prospect rankings a year ago? And you're like, well, he was our number one quarterback. Now, okay, it turns out it was a really bad quarterback class, so I'm not sure what good being number one in that class is, but it's a fair point that if you rewind a year before he went in the 5th round, not only was he supposed to be the top quarterback available, but he was like popping up in number one overall mock drafts, the year too early mock drafts, like consistently. And it's not like he played badly in his final year of college. Like, sometimes that can happen and a guy plays like garbage and it's like, all right, fine, we'll drop him. But like, he played well in a different offense with a different group of playmakers and a whole different sort of setup and dynamic. If anything, that should have enhanced his draft capital or his draft stock rather than harmed it. And then he ends up sliding to the 5th round. And at the point where that happens, like, regardless of what you do, you're immediately you have no shot, right? Because there's no investment in you. There's no motivation for a team to give you any kind of playing time or opportunity to win any, even reps in, preseason training camp, blah, blah, blah. But there was enough of an opportunity for him with Heineke doing what he did that, all right, let's see what Sam Howell has. And in the last game of the season, he showed enough that's like, let's roll the dice. Let's see what he can be. So it's a sort of fascinating case study that doesn't roll around that often, of a quarterback that at one point was seen as an elite prospect, then slipped to the 5th round, and has then somehow lucked into the opportunities that 5th rounders typically don't get. And now we're going to see where he is in the NFL.
Yeah, just to rewind too into the college career, part of the reason why he slipped is he was one of the better true freshman quarterbacks we've seen. 82 grade in 2019 was fantastic that year and looked like a future first rounder. And then next year, 90 plus grade, 90 plus passing grade. But when he lost most of his targets, the passing grade dropped in 2021. And you mentioned it was a new offense and the whole thing. But it was how he did it. All of a sudden, he jumps up with a 90 plus rushing grade, looking like a fullback, looking like Tebow, that he never showed that as a freshman or a sophomore. And that became like his game in 2021. So part of it should have been like, hey, that's impressive. He found a way to win or produce in a different way. But other people viewed it as, man, the passing game was poor. He did have some poor games as a passer, accuracy, pocket presence wise. So it wasn't like Sam Howell just got screwed. There were question marks to his game as a junior, to the point where people said, man, you should have taken that NIL money and gone back. And but now look at, he's the starter for the Commanders, and it wouldn't surprise if he's a pretty good player.
But I sort of feel like the questions were overblown a bit, or at least sort of seen in the light of what he did the year before as overly negative, right? Like the year before, he passed for 10.2 yards per attempt, had a 9% big time throw rate, which is like off the charts stupid, and 2.2% turnover worthy play rate, which is 0.2% higher than Bryce Young over the last 2 years. So insane stats, right? And then De'Ami Brown goes to the NFL. Like, he loses important pieces of that offense. So the next year, his production drops. But it only dropped to 8.7 yards per attempt, which is still really good. His big-time throw rate went to 6%, which is still really good. And his turnover-worthy play rate didn't change at all. It was 2.2%, which is still really good. So was it worse than it was the year before? Yes. And it was notably worse, like significantly so. But A, he offset it with the running ability that we didn't even know was there. And B, it wasn't like it was bad. Were there bad games in there? Yes, absolutely. Like the Miami game was bad. But I think in totality that season should not have had the kind of negative impact that it had on his standing.
How confident are you that this is a breakout year for Sam Howell?
vaguely confident. I think he might be okay.
Yeah. I'm intrigued by just seeing him, by seeing Jordan Love, by seeing guys that are going to be given opportunities here, not in their first season.
So who are our quarterbacks so there's whatever comes out of the 49ers thing. There's Sam Howell, there's Jordan Love. Who else are we getting for like real first year sort of?
Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, Ridder.
And Kenny Pickett, I think we saw enough of last year that it's not
right.
It's a pivotal year for him though, because
there were important years for other guys, but we've sort of seen more of them. Like guys that are sort of realistically getting their first shot at this.
Other than rookies, that might be it. As I'm glancing around the league, I think that might be it. Colt McCoy.
I would say that I am less confident that Sam Howell has a really good year than I am of Jordan Love, but more confident than Desmond Ridder.
That's fair. I'm surprised you're that in on Jordan Love.
I mean, I'm not. I don't think the number's not like 60% for any of them, but that would be my order, I think, if I was ranking them in most likely to have a good year.
No, I think that's all fair.